Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name's Sammy Charlian. I'm a marketing executive for the University of Liverpool online programs. I'm joined today by Chloe Spence, our Director of Studies, and Brian Cherry, who is also an admissions advisor. So in this session, I'm going to introduce you to the University of Liverpool's online programs, where I'll be highlighting the university's well-known global stature and the reputation. I'll then pass over to Chloe, who'll provide us an insight into the MSc Digital Marketing course, and then Brian will be there to highlight the admissions process. We also have time for questions at the end of the session, so do feel free to drop them in the chat as the session goes by. And then we'll review these questions in our Q&A session at the end and pick them up. So first of all, the University of Liverpool is a very well-respected UK university. It's a founding member of the Russell Group, which is a group that represents the top 24 universities inside the UK. It has a lot of strengths in many areas, especially in health, computer science, and management as well. And the university has a significant number of international students, many online students as well, and is associated with 9 Nobel laureates and is ranked in the top 200 of universities worldwide. So it has a big reputation in the UK, and also that's felt across the world as well. This next year upcoming, 2025, will mark 25 years since Liverpool's online programs was founded, and since the year 2000, it's kind of been one of the real big pioneers in online higher education. The online master's programs by the university are designed to work around you as a part-time postgraduate student, and likely if you're an international student as well. Although we have many UK-based students as well that take our courses. You'll have the opportunity to engage with materials in your own time through our virtual learning environment, the VLE. There are also some live sessions as well. They're usually not compulsory for you, but they're a really good opportunity for you to engage with other students in those sessions and build up a rapport with, you know, the fellow colleagues that are in your course. We also have a real strong student community, and we try to ensure that our online students have a good level of engagement with their fellow students and teaching staff. The course materials have been developed by staff and are designed for the online environment. And our programs are much more than just a reading list. They're really interactive, but also can be challenging set, you know, in terms of the learning environment that you'll be in. But this will really bolster your own learning abilities, and you'll gain a high level of support from the academics, the student support team, all to ensure that students are successful in their studies. And just to summarize really as well, students who successfully complete their studies, graduate from the University of Liverpool, are also awarded the same Liverpool postgraduate certificate and same experience as those who study on campus. So you'll be able to come to Liverpool when you graduate. So I'll now pass on to Chloe, who's going to talk through our Digital Marketing MSc program.
Okay, great, thank you. So hi everyone, so I'm Chloe Spence. I'm Director of Studies for the online MSc in Digital Marketing. So I'm just going to give you a general overview of the course in terms of who is this aimed at, what are the kind of key outcomes that we aim for, and then what does this also consist of in practice? So thinking about things like the different modules, the different kind of learning materials that you'll access, and also thinking about the nature of online study. So what does this consist of in practice? So yeah, so as was said before, so this is a fully online part-time program, typically studied over 30 months. And this aims to take advantage of the most current theory and practice and really apply this to explore these key aspects of digital marketing environment and tie this in with marketing strategy. So we're really thinking here about combining theory and practice and thinking about how can we update these more traditional, conventional models of marketing to actually fit in with our current modern day environment. And as it says here, it was developed by leading academics within the management school, and it really aims to actually equip you with the knowledge and skills to become outstanding digital marketing professionals. So yeah, the next slide, we could move on to that. Thank you. So yeah, the management school is one of an elite group that is triple accredited. It has this gold standard triple accreditation by these three key bodies of the AACSB, AMBA, and EQUIS. And this is fed into the kind of structure and assessment of the program as well. And when we're thinking about these kind of key values, so the management school really aims for global connections, thinking about international awareness, bringing in kind of expertise and insights from across the globe. And we also aim for transformative teaching. So we're thinking about going beyond just sort of ticking boxes on the curriculum and actually thinking about having a really profound impact on students in terms of their future goals, their career goals, their life goals, and thinking about knowledge leadership. So really quite a leading, pioneering entity here. So going back to this kind of idea of tying in with your goals, your career goals, your life goals, it's good to think about these kind of key areas of where does this fit in with your own kind of position in life and your kind of long-term aspirations. So this might be suitable for you if you have an existing undergraduate degree in a related area. So something like obviously marketing, if you've got a general marketing degree and you're looking to specialize in digital marketing. Also something like business, economics, or management. But having said this, this program is really designed to be suitable for anyone of any kind of undergraduate background. So you might have done anything, it could be engineering, psychology, sociology, history, whatever, but you want to get into marketing. This could be a good pathway for you then. We do also have a pathway for those who don't have an undergraduate degree, but who do have relevant professional experience. So say if you've maybe spent a few years within some kind of marketing, digital marketing role, maybe some other kind of qualifications, you might have done some online qualifications, for example, that are not at degree level, but still show some kind of expertise and awareness of digital marketing. This could also be suitable for you. I will get onto specific entry requirements towards the end of the presentation, but we do look at every application on a case-by-case basis. So if you're not sure if you do quite meet these criteria, say if you've got a more unconventional background, maybe don't have that kind of academic backing, it is definitely worth getting in touch and arranging a chat with me or with, an admissions officer and seeing what we can do and whether you are well suited, or maybe if there's more steps you need to take before coming to the program. So then when we're thinking about these more kind of long-term goals, so it might be that you want to advance an existing career in marketing. Say maybe you've come into like an entry-level role, you're looking at ways to move up within your organization or to another organization, but within a similar kind of field. It might be that you're wanting to move into a marketing role for the first time. So you might be a recent graduate, you might have just come out of education, or you might have spent, a few years or even a lot of years within a different role, but you're wanting to transition and actually sort of get your feet off the ground in this area. Then more broadly, you might be looking at more generic kind of managerial careers. I'll come to some specific examples later, but there's quite a broad range of roles that this might really set you up for. Or if you're wanting to go into research, say if you're thinking of doing a PhD, for example, in management, this will be a really good first step towards that, particularly when it comes to the dissertation and the kind of independent data collection and analysis that's involved there. So really quite a broad range of areas that sort of might be relevant here if you are thinking about this course. Next slide, please. So to come on to some of the more specific kind of educational aims of this course. So overall, this aims to provide a broad, analytical and integrated study of digital marketing and management issues. So we're thinking about developing this kind of really broad perspective of digital marketing, related areas, integrated, so really bringing together theory and practice and developing these analytical skills as well. So some specific aims here, these include things like providing students with current theory and concepts to explore key aspects of digital marketing environments and how these have influenced strategy and practice. So we're thinking about like traditional marketing theory, key concepts, how have these evolved, how are these applied, and how can we actually apply these in practice to develop a strategy. Then thinking about interdisciplinary knowledge as well. So we're thinking about drawing from a diverse range of kind of subject areas and fields to actually inform how we think about and operate within digital marketing. So this might include things like, for example, thinking about the psychology of consumer behavior. What are the kind of implications of this for digital marketing and for how we operate as practitioners, as well as this more kind of abstract theoretical lens. Then thinking about your own digital fluency as well. So the course obviously is online and delivered all through this VLE, this virtual learning environment. So you will be developing your own skills of actually operating, communicating, and collaborating online. There will be, as I'll come to in a bit, there is an induction module as well that will provide you with a kind of overview of what you need to know for this kind of online learning environment. And it's really key here, obviously, for this specific purpose, for this online learning, but also when we think about the modern age, how much of our contact is online, thinking about the move towards hybrid working, hybrid workplaces, all these kind of online communication tools. This ability to communicate, collaborate, and, effectively get work done at a distance is really a key skill. Obviously, within digital marketing specifically, it is an online focused kind of enterprise, but also more broadly when we're thinking about what makes a kind of good employable graduate in this current age. And then finally, thinking about critically reflective practitioners who are independent learners and question their own and others' assumptions when it comes to digital marketing and management practice. So we're really thinking about these skills of critical reflection, analysis, not just kind of rote learning, not just knowing the basics or knowing how to recite something or repeat what's already been done, but actually developing your skills of thinking more critically and analytically about what are the kind of norms here, what are the practices, where are there areas that maybe aren't working so well or need updating, to actually develop the most innovative and creative kind of class of graduates that we can. So more of an overview of the program. So it's a part-time program, typically studied over 30 months. So this begins with a 2-week induction module to the mode of study and the program. So this will cover, what you can expect from the program in terms of the modules, the kind of academic skills you'll need to be exercising, but then also in practice, how do you engage with this virtual learning environment? Where do you need to look for the kind of key resources and materials you'll need to access? Then following this, each subsequent module is delivered over an 8-week period. You'll study one module at a time, so there's no kind of overlap here. They're all level 7 at master's level, and going back to this accreditation, they're reviewed annually to ensure that they adhere to these AACSB requirements. So when this module was being developed, there was a real focus on thinking about embedding employability and thinking about the key kind of skills that industry employers value in the current age. So industry employers were consulted directly during program design. The insights and feedback were used to actually determine the current skills and fed into the modules that were selected, also the kind of learning materials, the modes of delivery, and also thinking about emergent trends. So thinking about things like the increased role of social media, the evolution of social media platforms, increased role of data analysis and analytics, and also ethics, thinking about the kind of sustainability, environmental and social implications of marketing practice. So you'll see this more specifically when we come to the list of specific modules, but this really was used to really inform the overall shape of the program. And also when we're thinking about the more specific applied aspects of the program, this is embedded in more kind of specific careers, opportunities, and opportunities for development, engagement with experts in the field, all this kind of thing that I'll come to in more detail in a little bit. So overall, to get this qualification, you have to complete 9 required modules. So they're all compulsory. There's not an element of selection here. It's just all the same. And then including the final 60 credit dissertation, which is more of an independent research project. So yeah, the next slide, please. So this is a list of the required modules. So we have, you can see there's a combination of kind of key specific digital marketing areas, then more general business kind of practices that are tailored to digital marketing, and then also more kind of honing in on specific areas like social media marketing, for example, or data analysis. So we have like digital marketing strategy and practice, really key. Things like leadership, different styles of leadership, different theories of leadership that are really key to business as a whole, but we're focusing more specifically on how are these applied to digital marketing. Ethical and sustainable business practice, obviously really important in general and really kind of topical as well when we're thinking about effects on the environment, kind of social effects, sustainability, consumer behavior, as I said before, can bring in things like the psychology of consumer behavior, bringing in these different areas. And then when you get to the end of the course, you'll be working towards your dissertation. So the dissertation, as you probably know if you've done any kind of anything like this before, this is more of an independent research project. So you have to conduct a review of the current literature on a certain topic, identify what are the key gaps and areas in need of more research, and then look at collecting and analysing your own data and drawing your own conclusions. So you will have more kind of preparation for this as well. So obviously the research methods module is really key for developing some of the kind of skills and knowledge you'll need for this. There is also more specific dissertation kind of training and information you'll be given. But this is a really good opportunity for really honing in on what are the key areas that you're interested in. Can be really good for, obviously, if you go on to a research career, but much more broadly going on to the employment, to your place of work, being able to actually talk about this and your own sort of independent research, taking initiative, showing that you've conducted this independent piece of study can really be valuable for actually, focusing in on what is it that you really care about, what's the area that you might want to work on in future, and actually developing these kind of novel insights and novel analysis that will really, produce these kind of meaningful contributions moving forward. Next slide, please. So some of the key learning materials that you'll be accessing via the VLE. So lecture casts are arguably the most important here. So these are essentially, you can probably work it out, they're like the lectures, the kind of weekly. These are pre-recorded in this case, so you can access them whenever you want to. Pre-recorded lectures within modules across weekly topics that'll cover, the key insights, the key theories, concepts, applications, might include various multimedia elements as it is all pre-recorded on video. Then you'll have reading, so you'll be assigned normally weekly reading within modules, and you'll have access as part of this course to a variety of different kind of reading materials. So typically within each module, you'll have like a core textbook that you'll have free access to the e-textbook, access this every week. And then you'll also have access to various academic journal articles and books. So you'll normally have like a list of recommended or required reading for every week. And then you'll also be encouraged when it comes to assessments, things like this, to actually go out and do your own research. So do your own searches through relevant academic journals, using things like Google Scholar, JSTOR, going through lists of, the reputable management and marketing journals, and actually finding what are the kind of key contemporary debates and issues and gaps within a certain field. So then practical activities. So this might be things like case studies, looking at like a specific organization, a specific issue that's arisen and thinking about how would you address this in practice. You might be doing this individually or as part of a group. We do encourage as well collaboration with, your fellow classmates, your fellow students. And there's also opportunities to think about how does this apply to your own practice. So if this is relevant, obviously, if you are currently or have been within a marketing role or a related role, how can you apply this theory to what you've seen? For example, say, looking at theories of leadership, what are kind of examples of good practice or bad practice that you've seen? How do you think this might be enhanced or improved, or what are some kind of issues you can identify? Things like blogs, quizzes, tests, podcasts, social media. So in keeping with this being obviously an online course and also digital marketing focused, we do try and incorporate quite a broad range of different sources and different materials. Really encourage you to kind of think outside the box and engage with these broad range of multimedia activities and materials. So yeah, next slide, please. And then coming on to assessment. So this program and the management school in general really tried to prioritize this idea of authentic assessment. So we're thinking about undertaking tasks that demonstrate meaningful and integrated application of relevant academic knowledge, skills, and understanding. So again, it really all comes back to this idea of integrating theory and practice. So showing that you both grasp what are the key concepts, the key theories, models, authors, but also you really understand how do these apply in practice, and how would you apply these within your practice. So it's not all theoretical, hypothetical, it's actually more applied and practical. So in keeping with this, we have a diverse range of assessment methods that are used throughout the program. And the focus again is on developing these key learning and employability skills. So this includes things like teamwork. So throughout the module, you'll have a variety of sort of synchronous and asynchronous engagement opportunities. So synchronous would be, in real time, things like meeting, like we're doing right now, for example, like meeting on Zoom or MS Teams, having this kind of direct engagement in the moment. Whereas asynchronous would be something like a discussion board where you can add to and engage with in your own time. So the aim here is really to balance these ideas of flexibility, but also engagement. So we're obviously aware that most people who take this course are working at the same time. A lot of people have kids, families, other commitments. It's a part-time course, obviously. We also have students from all over the world, essentially, so all different time zones. So it can be quite hard to actually fit in these kind of synchronous engagement sessions. But we do really want to give you the chance to have these because we know it can be really valuable. But at the same time, we want to make sure that it is as open and accessible as possible. So when it comes to assessment, there will be some kind of collaborative group work projects where you will be asked to meet with other people to some extent and actually create something together. There'll also be a lot of independent work as well. We're thinking about showing independent learning, written communication, also verbal communication, ability to collaborate and work as a team. And we're also thinking about recognizing the diversity of the student body. So recognizing that people have all different kinds of abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. We want to give people equal, or it's not always going to be entirely equal, but give everyone a chance to succeed. So some people will be better at essay writing, for example, at written communication. Others might be really good at presenting or at working in a group. We really want to give a balance of these and also give chances for people to actually hone the skills that they haven't quite developed yet. So thinking about developing areas where you're less confident, recognizing that people are going to have different strengths, different weaknesses, abilities. But when you are coming into the workplace, you will need to actually have this kind of basic foundational skill in all these areas. So trying to give quite a broad kind of coverage in this sense in terms of what are the kind of skills you're using, the kind of mediums of communication, and the kind of outputs that you're actually producing here. So just a few examples here that I kind of touched on already. So might be things like analyzing contemporary issues within industry, might refer to current news articles or recent kind of controversies, crises, scandals. How could these be addressed better? What are the key underlying issues and themes here? Collaborating, maybe to look at a case study, to look at how would you address a certain organization or a certain challenge that's come up. Creating video presentations, and again, this would be a more kind of direct interactive project. Also, I should have said, although lecturecasts are pre-recorded, there will be chances for one-on-one contact with your lecturers. They'll have office hours typically, which are online. And then if they don't work for you, you'll have the chance to email them to actually arrange an alternative time to meet. There'll also be question and answer boards where you can ask things that can be answered publicly, as well as email might be more private if it's more one-on-one you're wanting. So although this is, the lectures are pre-recorded, there are a lot of chances for this one-on-one synchronous engagement. So yeah, going back to assessment, so video presentations, as I said, things like reflective reports on leadership and management that again might be bringing in your own experiences of being a leader or being led, being managed. And yeah, kind of again trying to go for this authentic assessment that actually combines theory with practice and allows you to apply your own unique insights and experience as well. So as I've said, a key aim here is to embed employability within the course. And this comes into what are the, designing the individual modules, selecting the modules, but also at the level of these modules as well, the kind of activities and assessments within these. So aiming to really promote engagement with work-based issues within management practice. And again, thinking about analysing and reflecting on your own organisations, where you're currently working or may have previously worked, where this is appropriate. You might even, draw on things like your classmates' expertise to help you with a certain issue you're facing in the current time. And this is enhanced by things like access to guest speakers, which are embedded within modules. And again, this might be synchronous or asynchronous. So synchronous would be like live webinars like we're doing right now, where you'd have the chance to ask questions of certain professionals, or there might be things like videos, podcasts that you'd access within your own time. And typically, if there were webinars being done, these would be recorded as well, like this is now. So you could access this at a later date if you're not available when it's actually happening for whatever reason. Then also things like more optional kind of elements, things like access to guest talks, networking events, other opportunities that are outside of the specific requirements of modules. And then Kaplan Open Learning will also provide additional career support that's more tailored to your individual needs. So more chances to talk through what are your options, your aspirations, your goals, more kind of one-on-one support will be offered there as well. So yeah, overall, the program is designed to equip students with the knowledge and skills to meet the dynamic demands of employers. So again, thinking about what are the current skills that are needed, what are the kind of future trends, how can we future-proof our graduates, so actually make them versatile, well-equipped to deal with how things are likely to evolve over the next few years. Thinking about digital marketing, obviously a very fast-moving, fast-evolving area, a lot of new platforms that have developed even just over the last few years. So to develop understanding of career opportunities, what are the full range of careers they might be pursuing, and also the ability to articulate career aims. So it might be that you come to this program with a really strong sense of what you want to do, where you want to go, and this is just a step on that journey. But a lot of other people might also be less kind of sure of what they're doing, where they want to go. So the idea is that through this, through covering these different areas, these different kind of specialisms, considerations, businesses, you can get more of a sense of what is out there and what is best suited for you, and actually be able to express what is it you want to do and where do you want to go with this. So graduates from this program have access to a wide range of marketing, management, and leadership positions across various sectors, across private, public, and voluntary organizations. And this is particularly well suited to careers that involve management of internal and external communications and understanding the changing nature of the business environment. Just a few examples here. So you can see some kind of obvious ones in a sense: digital marketing management, marketing strategy, then more kind of broader management roles like consumer relationship management, international development, and then also focusing in on more kind of specific niches within digital marketing. So coming back to, we talked about the upcoming trends, so the increasing emphasis on things like data analysis, data analytics, and market research. You might want to focus within here, or like social media marketing, or things like influencer marketing, working with influencers across platforms, selecting the best influencer for a given campaign, managing them, all these kind of things. So yeah, you can see that the range of different areas you might cover here. Also, typically, we wouldn't be thinking about like entry-level roles. This is a program that is designed to develop students for more management level leadership positions. So we are really thinking about these higher levels, more high-paying, high-earning kind of careers. So finally, to give an overview of the entry requirements that I already kind of alluded to. So there are two main routes for entering the program. The first route is the more common route, I would say. Most students do have some kind of undergraduate degree. But having said this, this isn't an essential criteria. But so this route means minimum 2-2 classification or international equivalent of a UK bachelor's degree. And this can be in any subject. So again, you might come from a marketing background, another kind of business or management related background, but could also be completely unrelated, wanting to transition. It's more really about showing that you've got this kind of academic grounding. Although this program does aim for, promoting employability, promoting practical skills, it is ultimately an academic program. So we just want to know that you're not going to struggle with these kind of requirements. But then secondly, you can also come in through professional work experience in a related field and/or other relevant prior qualifications. So various universities and online bodies offer these kind of online short courses, for example, in like digital marketing, social media marketing, marketing in general, all these kind of things. If you have these kind of qualifications and/or you've maybe had a few years within a certain marketing role, digital media role, then you might want to think about applying as well. And again, if you're not sure, it is worth just getting in touch with me or getting in touch with the admissions officers and seeing maybe if you are suitable. Even if you're not, if you have a bit more to do, maybe it could still be worth arranging a chat, and then we can talk about what are your other options, where might you go at this point. You will also need to provide evidence of English language ability. This is pretty common across all kinds of programs like this. So you will have a test you'll have to take of this as well. But yeah, as I said, we do assess each application individually, and I will be happy to meet with any potential candidates to discuss your suitability, your existing qualifications, existing experience, future goals, next steps. So please do feel free to get in touch if you're not sure, if you do quite meet the requirements for this program. So I think I'm pretty much done, so I will pass over now. Thank you.
Okay, well, hi folks, my name's Brian. I'm one of the admissions advisors for the University of Liverpool's online programmes, and I'm now going to talk you through a little bit about what you can expect in that time between your first contact with us about a programme and enrolment. So can I have the first slide, please? Thank you. So it's a very simple process, and whether you've been in prior touch with us to ask about the courses or whether your application is the first contact with us, it follows roughly the same path from there on. So the documents we will need for your application will be, first of all, photographic ID. So passport is ideal, a UK driving licence or something like that, something which gives your photograph, your full legal name, and your date of birth. And it has to be a valid form of ID. So if it's expired a couple of years ago, unfortunately, we won't be able to accept that. We'll also need an up-to-date CV, and we need this so that we can see where your programme of choice fits into your career, what experiences you've had before that might help you on the programme, and what you hope to get out of it on top of your current work experience. We'll also need to see copies of your educational certificates, so things like your degrees, if you have already have a postgraduate qualification, we'd also like to see those, your degree certificate and your academic transcripts, and if they weren't issued in English, then we will need to see official translations, either ones issued by the university that awarded your degree or done by a professional translator after the fact. We'll also need to see a personal statement, and this is your chance to explain why you would like to take the course and what you would bring to it. So we're looking to see a quick summary of your skills and experience, why online study, and this course in particular, is your preferred option, and what you hope to gain from it, what you want to do with it after you've graduated. Now, as mentioned, if English is not your first language, then we will need to see evidence of language proficiency. There's a number of things we could accept, in addition to the secure tests that Chloe mentioned earlier. We could accept a degree from a majority English language speaking country. So if your degree was from the UK, from America, Australia, New Zealand, etc., we won't require any further proof. If your degree was from a non-majority English-speaking country but was fully taught in English, in some occasions we can accept those. And there are also certain school qualifications that we can accept because we know that the level of English teaching in those English exams is sufficient. As a fallback position, if you don't have any of those things, or if you're uncertain, or we just think it's appropriate for you to demonstrate further proof, we do have a free online English assessment that we can offer you as part of your application process. So submit the application with the remaining documents. If we think things look positive, then we can offer you this English assessment. Okay, could I have next slide, please? So here we have the process. First of all, if you have inquired about the programme, as I mentioned earlier, or whether you apply to us directly and that's your first contact, you will be assigned a personal admissions advisor. That's someone like me. And we're going to be there to help discuss the programmes with you, make sure it is suitable for you, make sure that you're well suited towards the programme that's going to deliver what you hope of it. And then we're going to walk with you through the process right up to enrolment. And we'll also be there in the first couple of weeks of your programme during your induction, just in the background, as a friendly voice that you can turn to if you have any questions or concerns. So once you've applied, you apply directly to us. It doesn't go through any clearinghouse, it doesn't go through UCAS or anyone like that. You apply directly to the University of Liverpool's online programmes office. There is no application charge. It's entirely free. The earliest you would have to pay anything would be if we do make you an offer and you decide to accept it. That's when your deposit will become payable. Prior to that, totally free. So once we have your application, we'll take a look at it, make sure that we've got all the documents we require. Is that if there's any more information that we need about particular aspects of it, or it's not particularly clear and we need some clarification, then we will get in touch with you. It's not a case of this is your only chance. We will always get back in touch with you if we think we need more information from you. So once we do have everything, it'll be reviewed by the admissions staff and the Director of Study. And then we'll make our decision about whether we want to offer you a place. Fingers crossed we will do. And if that's the case, then we will also discuss with you things like scholarships, the financial package, and your intended start date. So once we've got all that information, we can make the formal offer, and you can decide whether you wish to accept it or not. You will have formally 14 days in which to decide whether you want to accept that and pay your deposit. If, however, you've applied very much in advance, for example, you want to apply for May next year just now, we can be a bit more flexible about these things, so long as we know that you have sources of funding available and that you have a firm intention on when you wish to pay it. It's the sort of thing we can always negotiate. Right, next slide, please. Okay, so here are the fees for the current one. If you wish to apply for the postgraduate certificate, as you can see, based on 60 credit building blocks, roughly taking 10 months. So that'd be £5,623 in the current year. The postgraduate diploma, 11,246, and the MSc, 16,868. Now that's the standard tuition fee for these things. There will be a range of scholarships available for any intake, but at the moment what we have confirmed is for the January 2025 intakes. So we'll discuss those in a wee bit now. Next slide, please. So the scholarships we have are the regional scholarships, and they are up to 20%. And the 20% rate is primarily for students in African nations who are resident in those countries, and that's because of the median incomes. The remaining bands are 15, 10, and 5, depending on essentially how wealthy your country of residence is. For UK students, there'll be a 10% band of that. But also for the January intake, all students, regardless, who are made an offer of a place will get the 15% band, except for the African residents who get the higher band of 20%. It's a basic principle that we have behind any scholarships or discounts we offer, is that we will always give you the most advantageous discount possible. So whatever you're qualified for, we'll give you the most money off. If you decide to pay your net fee after all these executive scholarships, regional scholarships are discounted, then if you decide to pay that upfront, there is also a 5% early payment discount if you were to pay off that full fee prior to the start of your course. And that's calculated on the net fee, as I said. There's an alumni discount for students who've already got a qualification from the University of Liverpool, and that's a 10% discount on that. Now, the combinations of those are we can only combine one scholarship with one discount. So you would not be entitled to, say, the regional and the executive, or the regional and the early payment discount and the alumni. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that. But as I mentioned, we will apply the most advantageous discount for which you're eligible. And that'll come out in the formal offer that we make you. Okay, next slide, please. So the next intakes are here. January 2025. The 27th of May 2025 and the 7th of October. Now, January and May, we are accepting applications for them, and we will be able to make formal offers for those. The October 2025, we don't yet have the fees and scholarships for that intake confirmed, so although we can approve an application in principle right now, the formal offer will have to wait until those details are confirmed. We do have to be able to spell out the financial implications with every formal offer we make. It's a legal requirement. So although we can say, yes, we will be offering you a place, at the moment we can't make a formal offer for October. But if you wish it, the January or the May, that's perfectly okay just now. Okay, next slide, please. And that's pretty much it for today. So I think we're moving on now to question and answer, if any of you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Brian and Chloe. That was great. And yeah, this is any questions that anybody has, please put them in the chat. I think we might already have one, so I'll just... Yeah, so we have a question from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Michael has asked, if I have not graduated yet and I am studying law, but I have a background in digital marketing, am I allowed to apply? And what is the last date for the application?
Okay, we don't have a formal cut-off date for applications. For the January intake, we'll be accepting at least until the end of December, and probably a bit later than that. I would advise applying as early as possible. So even if you've not yet graduated, so long as you can provide us with your interim transcripts showing your grades to date, that allows us to make a reasonable prediction about what your likely outcome will be, and we can make our decision based on that.
Don't really have any more questions, but you know, there's a few FAQs that people might have interest in. One in particular might be more for you, Chloe. Just basically like kind of if someone's wondering how much spare time they might need to sacrifice, like during a week or a day, because obviously being postgraduate, a lot of people might be working part-time as well as studying. So what do you think is like the kind of general amount of time people might be putting in a week?
I think the rough planning figure we normally advise students is between 15 and 20 hours. Obviously, the more familiar you are with a topic, that might be reducible. If it's something that's brand new to you, you might have to put in more extra reading. And if you're really engaged, you might want to do more reading around it as well. But generally speaking, 15 to 20 hours for the master's programs.
Yeah, so it's like part-time. It's so say the typical working week is like 45 hours. So it'd be less than half of that, or about half of that. So you should be
Yeah.
able to balance that with working part-time generally is the idea. And also it's very flexible in terms of the hours that you work as well. So if you are working sort of, probably not 9 to 5, but 9 to 5 some days maybe, then you can sort of make up for that in the evenings or the mornings or whenever you actually have that availability.
Great, thank you both. We have another couple of questions actually. A question from Francesca. Francesca's asking, do the program modules delve into marketing in specific industries? For example, Francesca's quite interested in marketing in the entertainment and the theatre industry.
Yeah, so things like that would be covered as sort of examples potentially, as like case studies. And that is also something when it comes to your dissertation, you can choose to focus in on what you're most interested in. So then if there is a particular area like entertainment or theatre that you really want to learn more about and actually, sort of do your own research there, that would be your chance to go deeper into them. So yeah, I would say they would definitely be covered as examples, but there aren't, as you can see, all the modules are sort of quite broad, I guess, to try and cover as much as possible. So there's not the chance to take specific modules on them. But when you come to the dissertation, that would be when you can really hone in and actually get a really deep idea of these key areas that you're more interested in.
Great. We have another question as well, which is around the topic of dissertations, which is obviously always a big topic area. So this person's asking, how will my dissertation supervisor assist me through the process? And also, will I have an opportunity for my dissertation to be published as an academic journal?
So in terms of supervision, so this would typically be, so before starting the dissertation, you will have sort of initial kind of guidance and tutoring in terms of what the kind of skills that you need, what the kind of places you need to be looking, how to conduct a literature review, for example, how to analyze data. You've got the research methods module as well. Then your assigned supervisor would typically be more involved in, looking at a certain number of drafts, like typically a limited number of drafts. They'll have like certain dates where you need to send drafts by. They'll look at these, giving you more kind of guidance on areas to develop, areas that are good, areas where you might need to do more research or more kind of tweak your research questions, whatever it might be. In terms of publication, this would be typically up to you to kind of, if that's something you want to go into, you would then need to, do some research, do some kind of looking into where are the journals you might want to publish. You could potentially talk to your supervisors or your lecturers about this. Would definitely advise that, asking for their advice, whether they think you have a chance of it being published or where you might want to look for that. But yeah, that's a whole kind of separate process that would be, going on to look into publication. It wouldn't be like the default. It's definitely an option if you have a really high quality dissertation, but you then need to go through the whole kind of process with that. So that's a whole kind of separate thing. But definitely if you are interested in research, if that's what the route you want to go down, then I would definitely say, it's worth talking to, your lecturers, your supervisors, or the staff on the module, seeing what kind of insights and experience they have to help you with that.
Great. I think we just have one more question from Francesca. Francesca's asking if we're interested in doing the program on campus instead of online. Is there accommodation available on campus?
Well, there is postgraduate accommodation available, but it is very limited and it is on a first come, first served basis. So if you do opt for the on-campus programs, you would be, first of all, no guarantee that you'd be able to get some because of the pressures and the demand on it. Secondly, it's going to be available only for a short period of time, usually about a year maximum.
Great, thank you. So yeah, we can conclude today's session. Thank you everybody for attending. It's been great, and thank you Brian and Chloe massively for talking through the programs and the processes. So yeah, we'll conclude today, and we'll be looking forward to hearing more from you in the future. Thank you.